Last year, 39 trade union members were killed in Colombia, and very few of the perpetrators were identified and brought to justice. In China, there's just one state-controlled workers' union, and labor laws don't allow strikes or wage negotiations. Women aren't allowed to work in Saudi Arabia, and trade unions are unheard of in the kingdom. Strikes are forbidden by royal decree. But all three of these countries are popular with investors, in spite of, or perhaps indeed because of, their labor laws. That's the conclusion of the World Bank in a recent analysis. In the global competition for capital and investment, workers' rights are increasingly being neglected. About 20% of countries worldwide, including many fast-growing Asian economies, are actively engaged in suppressing trade unions, often violently. From its headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland, the International Labour Organization, the ILO, deals with issues such as the effect of workers' rights on the global economy.
And I will come down and
the agency is a subunit of the United Nations.
The goals of the ILO are to give globalization a social dimension. A central element was the Declaration on Social Justice for a Fair Globalization, passed in 2008. It says countries cannot secure a competitive advantage by violating human rights.
On paper, the ILO's basic minimum standards include the right of workers to form a union and a ban on discrimination against women, forced labor, and child labor. Employers and workers' groups agreed to these guarantees under UN supervision. Failure to abide by these norms affects workers in countries where rights are protected, such as Europe. Companies claim their jobs are too expensive and transfer production to other sites, which sooner or later are also endangered, since there's always another cheaper country where companies can relocate. Labor leaders say trade unions need to transcend borders and work together in international networks or workers' councils. IG Metall, Germany's largest trade union, which represents metal workers, says the organization needs to be present wherever corporations operate.
We're
seeing more and more success in countries where large German corporations are active. There are parts of the world which are attractive to multinational corporations. I'm speaking of Asia here, where labor standards are practically unheard of. Labor is cheap. There are plenty of workers, and they can be substituted at any time.
Efforts to improve conditions can pay off. In the textile industry, for example, U.S. civic groups, working together with trade unions, persuaded the U.S. government to sign an accord with Cambodia that pledges more trade, but only if Cambodia adheres to basic labor standards.
There's a greater awareness in the United States, and Cambodia was by far the country with the worst working conditions at the time. And it was particularly dependent on its exports.
Now Cambodian textile manufacturers even offer child daycare as part of the Better Factories program. The project will be extended to 5 other countries soon. It may be a small step, but one in the right direction.